Hello, welcome to Grab a Cuppa Knit and Chat, episode 14. Today is Saturday, March the 30th, 2024, and it's about 7 p.m. in the evening here in Central Oregon. I don't have a whole lot today. It's Easter weekend. It's kind of snuck up on me, really. We don't have any grandkids close by that are going to be visiting, so it's just going to be a simple, easy day at home for us. Let's see what's been going on in the past couple weeks. I've wanted to do some crafty videos, and I started one, and then I just didn't like it, so I trashed it. But I did not continue on with the craft. Apparently it was not a good day for me in crafting. And I've had a lot of those this month. So I'm not sure what's going on. I guess I'm losing my crafty mojo, so to speak. I'll be looking out the window a lot because I'm not wanting to look straight at the camera. It's lagging a little bit behind me, so it's kind of throwing me off a little bit. And because it is late in the evening, the lighting is not the best, so sorry about that. What have we been doing the last couple of weeks? Like I said, not a whole lot. I have read a couple of comments on some videos. I'm not very good with that, so forgive me that it took me so long to read them. I do at least give a heart on the comments if I don't comment back. I did have a comment about the John Arbor annuals, and I love mine. I've found so many patterns. I found a pattern for a hat, but I want to do it, but it's crochet and a linen stitch in the last annual, and I'm not liking the fabric that it is giving. It's a little bit too dense and I guess unmovable for me. I don't like that. Wow, that's a big shadow. Okay, we'll see if that helps. I don't like that real dense, thick, like unmovable fabric. So I've been on the hunt. Let's get into what's going on. I have a Shasta root beer, so grab something to drink. I don't think this will be a long one, but you never know whenever I get to talking. I brought in, what did I do with them? I went to Dollar Tree, which is like just a little dollar store here in the States. And I got this little tub. I got two of them. I got a pink one and a teal one. And they're perfect for putting socks in to wash. My bathroom sink, it holds water, but it doesn't hold water for as long as I need it to. And I think that's just when houses are built over here, they're done on the cheap, and that's just my opinion, and that's how I think about it. I have a red square tub that I usually wash my knits in, and it's a little bit too big for the sink. I have to set it off onto the counter, which is no big deal, but it's kind of flimsy, and the way it's made with the amount of water that I have to put in there to put a sweater or even just a couple of pairs of socks in, it gets heavy, and when I go to pick it up, the edges are real flimsy. Excuse me. So I went and got a couple of these. This is just one of them. And this actually has a couple of things in it that I've knit. So the last time I talked to you, I said that I was making a pair of socks with the Elysian yarn that I got from the yarn crawl, the Rose City yarn crawl. Where did I get these at? Got them at Close Knits. And this is the Elysian colorway on a playful base, and it was a trunk show, and I don't have the band, so I can't remember what the name of the dyer is, but I love them. Oops, there we go. That's what the main one is. This is just a vanilla sock, and then I used some yellow that I had to do the heels and toes, and this is my first shadow wrap heel. Do not care for the shadow wrap heel. So, but this is a shorter leg. I think I did a 1x1 rib with a I usually do like 15 or 20 rounds on my ribbing, and then I just did 40 rounds for the leg, and then my normal 60 for the foot, and then I did the toe. So I have those. They've been worn. Yeah. So the next thing that I have is another pair of shorties, which I don't usually wear shorties, but I don't know why. I just did a short pair because this is more of a spring sock, so I was calling these my Easter socks. And I just did shorties. I don't know why, but this is a pair of socks from a sock tube that I had done. I sent my yarn to someone with a sock machine, paid them to crank a tube at 64 stitches. I did a quick 1x1 10 round cuff. I did an afterthought heel, and I did my toe. This is just some yarn that I had from back when Knit Crates, before the pandemic, when they were doing their subscription every month. And my partner, husband, whatever you want to call him, the one partner in crime, I guess you could say, I made him a pair of socks out of them, out of the tube, and this was what was left over, and it was enough for me to get a pair of shorties out of. So those are ready to be blocked. And then I had made a pair of socks for my cousin and her husband, which I owe them another pair of socks because this was before I was doing cuff down. Excuse me. I knit socks for them toe up, and that's the way I was knitting socks. That's the way I learned how to knit socks, and I enjoy knitting socks that way. But when I would do the cuff, I would do a supposedly super stretchy bind off, and you couldn't stretch it. This is really stretchy compared to that. So these are some leftover Regia sock yarn from one of those pairs of socks, and I did on toe cuff down, which is the way I've been doing all of my socks lately because of that not being able to get that stretchy bind off. And I don't know how people say it works, but I have some thick calves, and it cuts into my leg. So, and I use the super stretchy, and I do it really loosely, and I sit there and I'll find that I'm wearing my shoulders for earrings sometimes, and I have to roll my shoulders and relax. And I make sure that I'm constantly aware of that when I'm binding off on a toe up sock. and still don't work. But this is the leftovers from that sock, and I did a heel flap and gusset on this one, and this one was kind of easy. Summerly Design Co., the sock project, her book. Sorry, closed my eyes because I was thinking. Her book, the sock project. I got it on Kindle because all of the paper versions have been sold out everywhere I've been trying to find them. And then the very next day I go to the local yarn shop close to me that's like 15-20 miles from me, and she actually had 3 copies. And I had just bought it on Kindle because I couldn't find it anywhere. But I didn't see it when I was looking for it in February at her shop. So I don't know if she had just gotten them in or not, but that's just the way my luck goes. But now I have it on the Kindle, which is okay. Some people are up in arms about digital patterns and non-digital patterns, and that's a whole nother story. We'll talk about that in a minute. But this is just a pair of adult small with the leftovers. The toes are done in a gray, what is that? Cascade Heritage sock yarn in a gray color. I get that for heels and toes because I haven't been able to find a whole lot of minis. And these are not exactly matchy. I worked this one. No, I worked this one first and went down. And I had done the whole sock in the leftover yarn here, and then I picked up from where that one stopped. I did this one, and I wasn't going to have enough to do the toe for this one, so I took the toe out of this and I kind of knit them to where they needed to be to pick up for the toe, and then I did my toes in the gray color. So I wanted to, these are leftover sock yarn from other projects. This will fit my foot. It's just a shorty, so it's a 64 stitch sock with a 40 round leg and a 60 round foot. I usually do 60 stitch sock for me, with a 60 round leg and a 60 round foot. But because they were leftover, I just went ahead and got them. I'm not thinking that he would want a short pair of socks, but I figured we'd have matching socks and mine would be shorter. This is, I think, a 60 stitch sock, excuse me, and it's her shorty basic sock pattern. I think it's like 10 rounds for the leg, and then I don't remember how many I did for the foot. I think I did like 60 for the foot. I don't remember. I made a small, but that was my leftovers. So it's not that I haven't done anything this month. I just haven't done a whole lot this month. The other finished objects that I have is the socks are not washed or blocked. This is not washed or blocked either, but this is the Kirby baby sweater from Barocco. It's got gorgeous little details that I'm sure will come up better whenever it has been blocked. I have not put the buttons on. It does have 3 buttonholes. There's one in the very top of the collar, one about midway, and then mid chest, and then one just under the chest. This is supposed to be a 6-month. I really like it. It's got this simple lace pattern. It's got garter stitch collar, garter stitch button band, garter stitch on the bottom and on the cuff of the arm. And I like it. I love it. This is done in Barocco Vintage Baby. And that is a, let's hold it up here. Barocco Vintage Baby. It's 52% acrylic, 40% wool, and 8% nylon. This is a 50-gram skein. It's a DK weight, but this color is 10012. The person that I made this for were having their baby shower the first week of April, second week of April. I didn't have anything to do. This took me 2 days to knit. And that was having to take out a couple of times for the lace because I messed up on the very starting rounds of the pattern. And I had to take it out a couple of times. But once I got going, it took me 2 days to knit. I can't wait to block it because I think it's going to be really pretty once that is blocked open. And the little buttons that I have for it are these. Is that going to show? It's a little owl. And I think it's going to be so cute with the little owl. Let's see if you can. It's just a light color owl. The person who's having the baby, a sagey green is their favorite color. So I went for something that was as close to that color as possible. And I had talked to them about owls because some people find owls creepy and some people don't mind them. So I did that. This is on Ravelry. Boy, that's really not helping, is it? There you go. The Kirby on Ravelry. And then, of course, I turned it completely off of there. Like I said, sage green is their favorite color, or a sagey green color is their favorite. I talked to them about owls. They felt owls were a protective type animal. So I'm doing that for the buttons. I'm waiting to put the buttons on until after I've blocked it because I've always been told that that's the best way to do it. So I'm just waiting. I'd rather wait anyway. I want to make sure everything's okay before I do that. And then to go with that, in the same color, I did a barley hat from Tin Can Knits. There's the top. There's the garter stitch detail, and then the rest is just stockinette. So the sweater is supposed to be a 6-month size. I say supposed to be because to me, babies are being born so much bigger than they used to be now. So I guess it's just the fact that it's been a while since mine have been babies. and they just seem bigger. But I loved it. And I thought that the barley hat from Tin Can Knits with that garter stitch design on the front would be perfect to go with the Kirby, with the garter stitch design on the collar, the button band, and the rib or cuffs. So that's my finished objects. And quite honestly, that's about all I've done. I have started about 3 pairs of socks, and I've taken them all out and frogged them. I also started a sock in to match the set here. I did a DK weight in the same yarn, and I did a Tin Can Knits, what was it, everyday sock. It's ribbed down the front. It's a rib pattern sock. You can get it off of Ravelry or off their app. I have the app. But I did the everyday sock, and it looked like it would fit a 2-year-old. And I did not like it. I did the baby size, but I'm just not a fan of DK weight socks. And yes, I know it's just a baby. They don't walk. It's a nice squishy tight booty. And I'll make another one because I did finish the entire sock. And I'll make another one to match it. But I just don't like it. And as I'm sitting here talking about it, why don't I just show it to you? Because it's in the bag. And here it is. There you go. It's just about 15 rounds of a rib. And then you keep the rib pattern on the front. And you do a heel flap and gusset. And almost as soon as you get through with the gusset for the baby size, almost as soon as you get through with the gusset, you do maybe 5 rounds of plain knitting, and then you do the toe. Which it's a nice, pretty, simple sock, but look at it compared to my hand. And, you know, I know it's just a baby sock, and it's a little booty, but to me it's huge. But since it goes with the hat and the sweater, it's the same colors, I'll just make it and give it to him anyway. But it's almost as tall as the little baby hat. This is a 6-month hat. Or no, I shouldn't say 6 month, because the barley hat sizes go newborn, baby, toddler. And this is the baby size, which I thought was a perfect size to go with the 6-month hat. And then this is it goes newborn, baby. And honestly, with the DK weight yarn, doing the baby size was real fiddly for me. So I don't think I could do a newborn size. Now, I'm pretty certain I could do a baby size in a fingering weight because I'm used to working with that with socks. But I'll make the second sock. I'll block it. I'll give it to him, but I won't like it. But then again, it's not for me, is it? It's for someone else. But if I don't like it and I don't take pride in it, I don't enjoy giving it to people. But at the same time, at the same time, it is called the everyday sock, and it's just a little booty. So there we go. Next, I didn't bring my scrappy stuff. I'll be right back. Hi. Okay, now I'm back. I really didn't have it together to be doing a video today, but I figured what the heck. So next is my scrappy, and normally I write everything down, and like I said earlier, the month got away from me, and it's just, I didn't get everything written down. But I have my book. Most of you will know, if you are new here, I have this little notebook with 2024 on it, and I have different sections, and I have some patterns that I want to do in the back. One is the pressed flower, hat, socks, shawl, cardigan, I think. I want to do them all. And I'll tell you about that real quick. And that's something else I wanted to talk about, was the digital patterns. So I printed off the pattern for the pressed flowers, and I was going to do the shawl first. And I'm not a very big shawl person, but I think it's pretty. I like the design. I want to do it. I think I have some Cascade Heritage sock yarn in a really pretty, like, foresty green, hunter green. I can't remember the color number. They're numbers, they're not colors. And then I have the Cascade Waves, Cascade Yarn Waves, that's done in the color changing that I'm going to do for the flowers. And that's in the unicorn colorway. And it's going to be a gorgeous shawl, but I don't read charts. I did see on YouTube somewhere the other day someone doing pressed flowers something another, and I may watch that and see. I can get the symbols, right? I know what the symbols stand for. I know that on certain sides it's one way, on another side it's another way. And I could probably do the charts if it was coded in a way where I knew that I'm working the right side and wrong side, and I could count or get it. I need a written pattern. My brain does not work in a way that reading charts is successful for me, because I know that it's all a pattern repeat, and I know it's all the same stitches, but my brain works to where if I know, okay, you need to knit 2, slip 1, knit 2, knit 10, and then start again, and do that like 20 times, I can do that 20 times. But when you give me the symbols and you put them inside this box, inside this big chart, and you say follow this, and there's all these symbols around that box, and there's all of this other stuff, and you say you just need to repeat this, I'm lost. So charts are not good for me. If there's a written pattern where if they could write out the chart, I would be happy. I did send off an email asking for if there was a written without charts, and I've never gotten a response. So I guess I'll always want to knit the pressed flowers patterns, because I do not get patterns that have charts, and I did not realize that those patterns had charts, and I had bought every one of the patterns because I wanted to make it. So rant over. The other thing is the digital patterns versus the printed patterns. I have digital patterns. I put digital patterns on my phone. I have my Ravelry on my phone, and it's perfect when I'm out and about and I have my knitting. If it's something that's, I don't want to say simple, but not needing extreme attention, like not a real big textured pattern or a cable, which I'm still working on cabled socks that are really my first cable pattern, that I really want to make them, but it's so time consuming and it's so much to remember. It's not like that you get to knitting and you get the flow going and you just keep going and keep going. So it's not good. It's not a good pattern for me to take to work on during meetings or breaks, because it takes too much concentration. It's not a good pattern I found to work on in the evenings when I get home, because I don't have a physical job, but I do have a mental job, and my brain is like mush, and I need simple projects like vanilla socks or a simple texture pattern or rib or something like that. So something simple. I don't mind digital pattern wise. Something a little more tooth to it, I like to have the physical pattern. Like the sweater, the Kirby sweater, I printed out that pattern because it does have different little things to it, and it's not, that one took a little bit of thinking, and that's why I had to redo the start of it so many times, because I had to wrap my head around it. But that was a good paper pattern for me. So I'm either or. If something's got a lot of charts in it, and I'm making it, then I'm going to print out the pattern, and I'm going to print all the pages that do not have the charts. Because if the pattern starts and then you get the written instructions for the pattern, and then it says, or you can use the chart on page so-and-so, then I see that the chart page is right after that, and then you have to go through the charts to get to the end of the pattern. I'm going to print it out, and I'm going to print it with only the pages that I need. And that's another thing. I love to see the gorgeous pictures that are on the patterns, but I usually, unless the front page of a pattern with that gorgeous loads of ink picture on it has pertinent information, I'm not going to print that first page of the pattern. So it just depends on the pattern on whether or not I'm okay with it being digital or not. So I can be either or. What was I going to do? Okay, so for March, my intentions were to do, as always, I mean, I kind of do the same thing every month, but I kind of try to mix it up, was to do one child, one adult hat, one child, one adult sock, work on my beekeeper's quilt, my miter square quilt, my granny stripe quilt, or blanket. They're blankets. Dishcloth or pot holder, my English paper piecing, make some quilt blocks or hand quilt, do a child and adult sweater or cardigan, work on Christmas ornaments, do a wrap, and do some spinning. And no, I did not do all of that. I do make my list. Hi, Leanne. My best friend says that I have a very idyllic, I guess is the way you could say it, list that I make every month. Do I ever accomplish everything on the list? No. But I did do kid socks, 2 pairs of an adult socks, a child's hat, and a child's sweater. So I'm doing good. Let's see. I've done 1 pot holder, 1 child sweater. I said 1 child sock because I only made 1 baby sock, and I'm not sure if I'm going to get the other one done tomorrow. So I'm just going to say that I did 1. I don't know how many stripes I've put in my granny stripe blanket because I forgot that it was the end of the month and I left that at work. But I think I've gotten probably about 2 or 3 stripes on it this month. That was it. Which is probably about, I don't know, an inch, maybe half an inch. It's not very much. But what I'll do is whenever I get to work on Monday morning and I pull it out, because that's been my my in-between knitting, or well, that's crochet. That's a crocheted granny stripe blanket. There's many videos out there on them, many patterns. You can just pick one and go with it. I'm doing mine in a fingering weight yarn, where I'm doing magic ball of all of the scraps from now that I've made those leftover socks for the kids. It'll go into my miter square blanket. I have little balls that go into my miter square blanket. Then a little bit goes into the the beekeeper's quilt, which is the little hexy knitted and stuffed pieces I've shown before. And then it'll go into the magic knot ball. There's all kinds of videos on making a magic knot ball as well. So let's see, what have I done on my miter square? I didn't count my squares. So I did 1 large block right there. So my large blocks is the decrease line here. There's 40 stitches on each side instead of 20. My regular blocks, there's 20 stitches on each side instead of 40. So I'm casting on 40 stitches and then picking up 40 stitches, and then I start my decreasing. Here I cast on 20 and pick up 20 and I start my decreasing. So I have the 1 large block, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just have the 5 small blocks. So my goal for this month was to do 3 small squares and 1 large square. Yay, I beat my goal. Doesn't take a lot to make me happy, but I'll show you what I have so far. So the purple in the bottom with the white marker is my very first block. And then I just kind of worked up. I did 3. And then I came over and I had a large amount of yarn, so I did a large block. And then I worked over and I did another large block. And then there's another one. And then there's that. So I have a marker in this one because I like to keep my little fox marker on to show the right side. And I'll move him around to wherever I'm working. Like if I'm working up on this top next time, he'll be moved over here where I can see him better. This time I was working in this corner because when I started, I did over to where the large block is, and I was like, it'd be kind of cool if I stagger those. So I'm doing the same count and staggering. So there's 3 rows from, this is the beginning row. So there's 3 blocks and then a large block. So in between there's 3 blocks and then a large block. And then there'll be 3 blocks and another large block. And then down here, it's 5 small and then a large, and then 5 small and then a large. And that'll continue. And I think after, if I remember right, it's going to be the 3rd row and then the large block and then 3 rows and then it stops. I laid it on a day bed and that's what I'm making it to. I'd like to have it wide enough to have 1 small block row hanging just over the mattress of the day bed. So that's where all my little pieces are there. So I did work a little bit on the granny stripe. I have my little hedgehog notions pouch thing. And I have my yarns and my miter square blanket so far are still fitting in my basket. I love to use baskets. So it's still fitting in there. So that's a good thing. Next up is, what is next? The hexie blanket, which is, I wrote these down like twice. It's driving me nuts. I'm sorry. 5 small. So I've seen Nitty Natty is doing a hexagon crocheted blanket while she's traveling around the country in her van, which her van's name is Lydia. Her husband's name is Kent, and the dog's name is Toaster. And yes, I watch it way too much. But they're traveling the U.S. in their van and living in the van. And I find that interesting. I would love to do that. And she's visiting yarn shops, stores, shops, blah, everywhere she's going. And she's getting special colorways, minis, whatever, and she's making a hexie blanket. And I thought, that's kind of cool. That's kind of what I'm doing with my beekeeper's quilt, which, if you don't know what that is, you can look it up on Ravelry. It's little hexagons that you knit, and you're knitting both sides at once on DPNs, and then you're stuffing them, and you bind them off, and then when you get a bunch of them, you sew them together, and then you have a squishy stuffed blanket that you've knit throughout however long. I've been doing it for like 3-4 years. I'll do a few and I'll stop and I'll do a few. I just really realized that it was supposed to be a DK weight blanket and not a fingering weight blanket, and I've been doing fingering weight. So with the larger needles, and I'm going to take those fingering weight hexies and put them together into like pillows or something, little cushions. for my stool, for my crafting table that's in my bedroom where I plan on spinning, or just do little pillows to put in my office, in my desk chair or whatever, behind my back. And I've started doing fingering weight with a size US 2 needle instead of using the 4 needle that's in the pattern. So that's my goal, is to have scrappy fingering weight of places that I've been, or things that I've made. It's kind of like the miter square blanket where you're using scraps to make the blanket. And I've also started the DK weight version. I'm going to put it together to make camp bed mattresses. What a way to use wool, right? Which the camp beds are like little army cots, and, you know, don't know how it'll work, but I'm doing it. So on top of Nitty Natty doing her Hexie blanket, Laura Penrose, is it the Knitting Pickle podcast? Anyway, Laura Penrose, the designer, is doing one as well. And I was like, you know what? I've admired it for a while. I'm going to do it. So I've started one. There's no rhyme or reason. I started with these 3 hexies here. I've just added in different ones. This is several times now. Oh, the stitch marker is the one that I got from the Rose City Yarn Crawl. Where did I get it from? I don't remember where I got it from. Fiber Rhyme? Yes, Fiber Rhyme in Portland. Sorry. My brain just went away. It's just a little black diamond. Anyway, I started mine. Mine is a worsted weight, so it's probably, well, I think the pattern, this is one that I have on my phone. This is all worsted weight, and it's all like scrap yarns. That's all it's gonna be. Some really light colored scraps to some really bright colored scraps. I don't even know why I have that, but I do. It's crocheted. I guess I should probably look up the pattern so I could tell you a little bit about it. Let's see. It is not on Ravelry. I lied. So let's see where we're at. I know they both have it linked. Let's see if I can find it real quick. This is not good. I still want to do the emotional support chicken. I'm really planning on doing it. Let's see if it's in my saved. It is not. Something I do want to show you that I think is really fun is little ninja stars. Oh, can you see it? See those yellow ninja stars? So it's little stars. This is from stitch11.com. And there's another one at nyanpon.com that has little nunchucks and ninja stars. So you're crocheting the stars, you're making two, you're slip stitching them together, makes them throw a little bit better. And they're amazing. I made them for work. So as I was saying, we have a real mental exhausting job, and one of my coworkers found those and thought, oh, those would be really cute. And then I made a couple and we started tossing them around and we started laughing and having fun. And it was just one of those things where we were able to let off some steam before we left home for home. It was about 10 minutes till the end of the workday. We were all like done for, and it was fun. And so now I'm making everybody some, as long as they don't interfere with her work, which I don't see that happening. We're all pretty serious about what we do. But as far as the hexie, I'll see if I can find the pattern. That's one I did not print out, so I'll have to find it and put it in the description. Hopefully I don't forget. Let me make a note. Hexie pattern in description. And what else was it? Crochet, hexie, blanket, in description. Let's see. I'll try to link the Kirby blanket, the hexie beekeeper's quilt. Sorry, I'm just making a note so that I don't forget, because I have forgotten several times. The barley hat, ninja stars, we'll add those in there. You may have some grandkids that you like, that you want to make some for. They're soft. You can be hit in the face with it and it doesn't hurt, and it's fun. I don't know what else to say about it. What else was it that I was going to talk about? The things, those are my scrappy things. So other than my granny stripe blanket, which I have at work to just pick up during those moments where it's just horrid, I'm working on my scrappy blankets like on Sundays. Just a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and my scrappy projects, and they're just mindless go for knittings. So that's when I'm working on those most of the time. The projects that I have picked up, I picked up one and it's called, I'm not going to show it because I have to restart it. This pattern is cute. I like it. It's by Ho Locatelli, which I've done a couple of her patterns before. There it is. Sorry about that. It's by Ho Locatelli. It's called the Staple Linen Top. I'm pretty sure that you was not able to see that very good. I kind of like that um, lacy type pattern in the front. Excuse me. But it's in the front and the back. It's down the front and back of the top. I run very warm. I'm always hot, so to speak, like I'm burning up right now, even though I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt. And I got to knitting on this, and I have linen, and it looks great. And I messed up on my wrap and turns. I did the back, and then I picked up at the shoulders for the front, because you knit the back, and then you pick up for the front, and you knit down until you're even with the back, and then you join it in the round. And the pebble tunic that I made is done the same way. And I love the pattern, but I messed up the wrap and turns in the back, and I didn't realize it until I picked up for the front and started to do it for the front. And I was like, oh no, I did this all wrong, because I had just made a sock with the shadow wrap heel, and I started doing the same thing. So I messed it all up. So I'm going to take it out and restart it. But my thinking is I don't want that detail all the way down the front. I'm thinking that, or the back. I think I'm just going to do plain stockinette in the back. And I'm going to do that detail on the front just to, I don't know, just a certain point where it just comes down on my neck, maybe a couple of inches. And then I'm just going to do plain stockinette. If I'm wearing a top, I don't want to wear a top under it. I mean, if I'm wearing a cardigan, that's different. But I don't see myself wearing that I can't wear it. I don't feel comfortable wearing it to work. Let's put it that way. It's not that I can't. It's that I don't feel comfortable wearing that to work. And I work 5 days a week, 40 hours. I'm pretty much always in the office. If I've gone somewhere after work, I'm still in office attire. And on the weekends, I might wear something like that. I'm trying to redo my wardrobe. And that's what brought me to that, is I was talking about doing intentional knitting for words have eluded me. Capsule wardrobe. Intentional knitting for a capsule wardrobe, and the staple linen top is something of that nature. I really like that. I do like the detail, and I will make one with that detail, I'm pretty sure, just so that I can see how much I like it, and if I do and if I don't. But I do see myself first knitting full stockinette in the back, and then doing that pattern just on the front for just a little bit, and then going full stockinette. What else? Let's see. Oh, what I started. They're so just started that I barely have anything to show. But this is the, let me get my glasses back on. What is it called? The Fisherman's Raglan by Liv Olven. This is on Ravelry. I'll just show you a piece of the sweater itself. The fisherman's raglan. I'm making this for my partner. I guess we're going to test out that theory of if you make something for your partner, then the relationship is over. What do they call that? The boyfriend curse? I don't believe in it. So there you go. I've just started the rib. It is a bottom up raglan, which I'm not, there it is. And I got a little fox on it. I threw it on there. That's my beginning of round. I haven't done any bottom up sweaters. I started to do the tessellated pullover by Andrea Mowry, and hers are bottom up. And I got frustrated with the tessellated pullover like most people did, because I did try to use it, mohair with it, and I need to restart that, and I haven't. So yeah. To me, it's a nice, simple type cardigan. That's a really dark picture. I don't think you can see it, but there it is. Doing mine in Lion Brand's Fisherman's Wool in the oatmeal color. This is 100% wool. 465 yards for 227 grams. It is woolly feeling. It is toothy. He will not be wearing it next to skin. I know Taylor Earl from Wool Needles Hands has made a couple of tops with it. I don't know if she wears hers next to skin, but his is going to be worn while fishing. So it needs to be kind of a warm sweater. So I just started, I cast that on today. So that was one reason I wanted to show it. It's the next to the last day. So it is part of my March knitting, but it's really not, because I cast it on so that I could do 100 days of knitting with Andrea Mowry starting Monday, April the 1st. She did 100 days of spindle spinning, and where you do like 15 minutes of spindle spinning a day, or you at least at the minimum. And I knit every day, but I get thrown. That's why I made I'll just show you my list of links. That's why I made my little notebook with my list for every month. And I made it so ambitious because I get bored easily with something, and I'll get started and I'll make a mistake, like my staple linen top. I've made a mistake. I started that last week. I haven't picked it back up. And I did quite a bit of knitting on it last weekend, and I got frustrated. So I want to make his sweater. Let me step back. My brain is jumping all over the place. This is all the time. Andrea Mowry has decided to do another 100 days of spinning long draw. I would like to do the 100 days of spinning, which is the 15 minutes a day. I think I'm going to do that on my e-spinner, which I've talked about wanting to get back into my spinning and get it going and actually use what I make. So on Monday, I would like to start the 100 days of spinning. I also want to do, because she's doing the 100 days of knitting, also starting on Monday, where you intentionally sit down and knit for 15 minutes a day. I know several people that do this. I think Kevin and Ray from Needles at the Ready. I know Kay, the crazy sock lady, does it. I think Kevin and Ray do it, but I know Kay does it from the crazy sock lady. She has a project right now. She's working on one of her sons a sweater, and she sits down every morning, and it's a cable sweater, and she does like 4 rows in the pattern every morning, and that's all she does on it, because it is kind of an intense knitting. So with this Fisherman's Raglan, I'm going to do that for my 100 days of knitting, 15 minutes a day. Also, I talked about the John Arbor annual, where the hat design crochet is in it. And I found one for knitting that I would like to make. And it's a full hat. And for those of you that don't know, I'm going to go on another rant. I said this was going to be a short one, and it's a long one. A hat is a shawl, so it is not called a hat shawl. It is a full hat or a half hat, which the full is a big square blanket type wrap. And the half is like a triangle. Like if you were to knit from corner to corner, it looks like you're doing from one corner to the middle and you just stop, like a half triangle shawl. It annoys me when people use the same words that mean the same thing, like bow staff. Bow is a staff, so don't call it a bow staff. Chai tea. Chai is the word for tea, so please don't call it chai tea. Just needed to go on that little rant. I would like to work on a hat because I have been wanting one for a long time. And every pattern that I've found had been crochet. And to me, it's just a really thick and stiff fabric. And that's not what I want. I did a half hat in a wool yarn, and I gave it to my best friend, Leanne. You know what I'm talking about. That was the first pattern that I had found, and it was so heavy and so thick. She still uses it. I know she does. She told me that she still had it. I think she still has it. So with that being said, let me see if I can find the page with the picture. I found this. Isn't that gorgeous? This is a fingering weight. It is from Brooklyn Tweed. It is a... where's the name? Hang on just a sec. Why did I do that? It is right there. I hate it when I hit the wrong button. It's annoying to me. So I will show you this picture. Hopefully. It is called the quill. from Brooklyn Tweed. I'm going to write this down so I can, I'm so horrible about putting descriptions in the, or putting links in the description box. So it's called The Quill by Jared Flood. It's on Brooklyn Tweed's website. It's also on Ravelry. It's $13 on Ravelry, but if you go to Brooklyn Tweed, you can get it for $12. It even tells you that on the Ravelry page. It gives you the, when you buy the pattern, you get both. You get the half hap and you get the full hap. Or it gives you 2 sizes of hap. I may be wrong. It may just be the one. It may just be the full with 2 different sizes. But I'm pretty sure you could figure it out. But it starts from the middle and it's worked out. So you do the center square first. And there's some controversy on traditional Shetland haps on whether you start from the outside in or... Anyway, this one is the center square first, and then you do the outside. It has a small size and a large size. And in this pattern, you can do it in a small single color, a large 4 color, or a large 5 color. And I'm going to do the large. And that's about approximately 50 by 50 inches. So it's going to be huge. But that's the whole purpose. Now, this is how much I have done. That's it. I just started it. It's a provisional cast on. And then I just started on the square. I'm doing blues. And I'll show you. So I dyed a bunch of yarn a few years ago, and I haven't done anything with them. And I have them all here. It's kind of blues, blue greens. I think these are the same. I just split them. And this. So there's some tonal, there's some variegated, there's just different colors. They're all here. And the way I'm doing it is I've started with this for the center square. And I'm going to use this one and this one only until I get done with this one. So however far that gets me. And then I'm going to switch to the next color and I'm going to work until it's gone. I'm going to try to remember to work because it gets so large that if I can't finish all the way around, then I'm going to cut it. Because I don't want this one to change colors in the middle of a round. So if there's a piece that's only 2 rounds with one color, that's fine with me. And with this, I'm thinking in between each color, I have some bear wool, bear sock yarn. These are all sock yarns that I dyed. I'm thinking that I'll just use the bear sock yarn in between each color. Just use what I have and see how far that gets me. I have several things of the bear sock yarn, so I can either dye another blue to go with it, or I can just use a lot of it if I need to fill in, because I think the bear yarn will give it that good creamy, off-white, white looking in between to break up the blues. I think that would be great. So let's see. What else do I have? That is it. An hour and 15 minutes. Sorry, guys. So I sat down thinking, oh, this will be a really quick one. And it didn't turn out to be quick. But yeah, the 100 days of spinning, the 100 days of knitting with the sweater and that's where my thought was. With the sweater for 15 minutes and the hat for 15 minutes a day, that would be awesome. That'll give me, because I do at least 30 minutes to an hour every day of knitting, but it's usually just on socks, or it's going every which way, like my mind is today. My mind has just went every which way during this podcast, and I'm so sorry. I still want to do my at least one pair of adult socks, one pair of child socks, one adult hat, one child's hat, and a dishcloth. We'll see what we get done. That's my April projection. April starting Monday. Isn't that wonderful? So anything that I do right now, I just wanted to start the sweater and the hat just so that I have them going. And then my 15 minutes will start on Monday. And if I finish one of those by doing it 15 minutes a day, then I'll have the other one to do. And then I may start, because I have always wanted to do some summer tops, like the staple linen top. I have a couple of more tank top type patterns that I would like to do. I might start one of those. We'll see. Or I might just do the one of the scrappy blankets for that other 15 minutes. I'll have to see how that's a lot, because that's 30 minutes of knitting and 15 minutes of spinning. And I get home about 6 in the evening. I eat dinner. I kind of relax. I'm doing my knitting at that point, so I can see the 30 minutes of knitting. But it's 7:30 before I even get started. And I usually try to, be in bed by 9. I may have to start the evening with the spinning and see if I can get it that way. And then go into the knitting. Or I do 15 minutes on my lunch break and 15 minutes of knitting at home, and that gives me 15 minutes on each one. I have a commute where I could get up in the morning, do 15 minutes of knitting, and then get ready and leave for work. But then that puts me in a lot of traffic. So the way I do it is I leave early. I get to work 30 minutes before I start, and I usually have breakfast. So I could do my 15 minutes of knitting while I'm having my breakfast. We'll see. It's just a conundrum, and now I'm just rambling because I'm thinking, and thinking out loud helps sometimes. So tell me what your plans are. Maybe you could check out I'll Knit If I Want To by Andrea Mowry and hear her talk about the 100 days of spinning and knitting and see what you think about it. And if you plan on joining, let me know. I think it can be 100 days of crochet. If you want to join me, do knitting, do crochet, do one. I mean, I could do that. I have crochet project going. I could do 15 minutes of crochet and 15 minutes of knitting and alternate my 2 knitting projects every day. There's a thought. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, let me know. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your time with your crafting.